You know, the state of Alaska is big. It is really big. And Katmai National Park and Preserve, the location for the upcoming Katmai game expansion, is also really, really big. For comparison, Yellowstone, also very big, is almost 9,000 square kilometers. But Katmai National Park and Preserve is over 16,000 square kilometers, almost twice as big as Yellowstone. So where in that vast expanse of Katmai National Park should we put our Katmai Coast game map? Well, obviously we want to set it on the coast, but where? The park has a very long coastline, 500 miles, 800 kilometers. In fact, this is the longest stretch of uninhabited coastline remaining in North America. So where along this coast should we set the game map? Well, Hallo Bay is the most famous area along the coast of Katmai National Park. That's where, if you've seen the movie Grizzly Man, that's mostly where Timothy Treadwell hung out, and that's typically where sightseeing and photography tours go. It's got a nice, calm, shallow bay for the float plane to land in. But the beach at Hallo Bay is like 9 kilometers long, and the flat valley floor extends about that distance inland too. So with our standard map size, that'd be the entire map, just a single long beach. Admittedly, it does have this beautiful glacier coming right down to sea level, but still, one long beach, one wide valley. Kind of boring. So I ruled that out. If we go southwestward down the coast, the vegetation gets very dense, and there are these deep bays that would be very annoying to extend into the map and kind of cut off your access to get from one side of the map to the other. So I ruled those out. If we go northeastward up along the coast, the next bay up is Shack. And I looked at that because it has this long beach, but it's also got this nice river valley going inland, and it has this awesome volcanic crater right there. It's got a little point here sticking out into the ocean, got a lagoon. So it's got some nice variety, but it is still more or less one long beach. So we keep going up the coast, and Ellen Dimmitt, our Katmai science advisor, really encouraged us to look at Cape Douglas area. So here's Cape Douglas. It's this very substantial peninsula that sticks out into Shelikof Strait, which is the body of water that's offshore from Katmai, between Katmai and Kodiak Island. And you have a couple glaciers coming close to sea level here, and a couple big glacier ponds, and a lot of variety in the coastline. There's a couple long beaches, but you have Sukhoi Bay, which is really an interesting area, and just a lot more variety, a lot of coastline. And since wolves in Katmai eat mainly seafood, food from the sea, the more coastline, the better, right? Also, some of these sections of coastline are beaches, some have flat, rocky areas that extend out into the ocean, great spots for sea otters to haul out onto. So this was a very attractive spot. But the problem here is, again, Alaska is big, Katmai is big, and our maps have kind of maxed out at about 60 square kilometers or so, 8 by 8 kilometers. And so if we center the map on Cape Douglas and the mainland just in from that, and we get a lot of coastline, and we get Sukhoi Bay, and we get this long beach here, but it wouldn't be that much variety. You wouldn't be able to get up to those ponds. You wouldn't be able to go up and see a glacier. Now, our limitation on map size is really about computer memory. These natural areas that we depict in the game maps are pretty homogeneous. In Lost River, we can load in and unload chunks of the town and stuff, but a big natural area like this, everything that you need in one area, you need in all the areas, so you can't really subdivide it like that. But the important thing, again, is the coastline. And because it is this coastal strip, basically between the ocean and then up into the mountains, that's not that deep of an area. And we can maximize that by having basically more of a linear map, a wide map that doesn't extend too much inland. So now we have this area that in the real world, it's almost 25 kilometers long, but it's only a couple kilometers deep from the coast, from the shoreline up to the cutoff point in the mountains. Because we don't care about the ocean areas, those don't contribute to the memory load in the game. And so here is the game map. A lot of coastline, and it's cool to have Cape Douglas sticking out here. It's a neat feature that you can see from almost anywhere in the map. I did reduce the scale about 20%, so this is a 25-kilometer stretch of coastline. In the game, it's 20 kilometers, but it's probably coming closer to twice that in terms of actual shoreline, just the way it curves and bends around. And that's what wolves really care about here in Katmai. In fact, they care so much about it that rival packs will actually prefer to claim hexes along the shoreline. They don't care so much about the inland hexes, except maybe on the rivers, because there's salmon there in the summertime. So you can choose to have an inland territory and home site, but then you're going to have to face the rivals if you go to the coast, or you can fight them over the more desirable shoreline hexes. So that's the game map, and you'll notice there's this nice, more or less flat inland strip here, which I know a lot of players really want. And so here it is. Of course, the downside is there's no elk here to chase across those nice flat areas, but they're still fun to run around in. And it was actually fairly difficult to get myself out to Cape Douglas. The first 4 Bush Pilot sightseeing outfits I asked were not interested in going there, just, I guess, a little too tricky to land your float plane just offshore there. Fortunately, I did find Willie Fulton, who was happy to do it. But this area, the game map, is very lightly visited, and it's kind of funny to think that within a couple days of the Katmai Coast expansion release, which is not for a good while, I think more people will have visited the area virtually than have actually been to the real place in decades, at least. So it's kind of fun to think about. So we are plugging away, making progress on many fronts, and we'll have more to share in future devlogs, so stay tuned.